This terrifying mythic is perceived as much more terrifying than these teeny tiny commons and uncommons. This player, however, is actually winning. They've got all the setup, all the value and volume, all the eggs in one Phyrexian basket, but the table is losing their minds. You've hit them in the card draw, and do not underestimate the psychological effect of playing an iconic talked about villain, these three no-neck civilians, and the effect of dropping a $60+ card, these cents worth of tat that they've got over there. The reality of the situation is that these three cards are a few turns away from winning, and this card played on turn 4 is merely an inconvenience. In Commander, players don't always respond to the person who's actually closest to winning. They respond to the person who feels dangerous. This is classic threat perception, our tendency to react to signals of power, not necessarily actual power. Now, if you've played this card on turn 7 with a wheel in hand, you've delayed gratification and will deal a ton of damage instead of wasting 4 mana for a card that literally reads, "I am the problem, ask me how." It doesn't matter that the other player's combo is a few turns away. If your commander is terrifying or your board is flashy, you're the one who's going to eat the removal. Don't get me wrong, Sheldon needs a swift kick in the Phyrexian nuts, but I'm more worried about the player who's quietly milling and seeing 3 more cards a turn with Sidisi than a poorly timed Sheldred. Often these cards played at the wrong time are a waste of time. This isn't set up, this is social targeting grease, and that threat response will remain for the rest of the game. So now you know this, what do you do about it? Remember, players want an excuse, not a reason. Humans are wired to notice loudness, speed, and drama, not subtlety. When they're overwhelmed by 4 boards worth of information, they will default to the most obvious, visible signals. So if you look scary, people will act on it even if you aren't close to winning. You could use low visibility engines, study, tithe connections. These are high results for little effort, and again, they are expensive cards. Instead of dropping Heuristic Study and begging for those cards, play a Beast Whisperer and draw quietly off your creature curve. You'll net similar value, but without becoming the arch villain of the table. Baleful Strix, Wall of Omens, Elvish Visionary. These are early interactions without the loudness, the speed, or the drama. Slow drip value is cognitively manageable to your opponents. What you want to do is build engines that scale privately, avoid cards that scream inevitability like Joda, Chalain, or Anointed Procession because they're red flags. They signal the runway minecart of Commander Doom. They must eat removal. You could use Tamio's Journal. It's a slow tutor, so it's not loud. Incubation Druid and Counter Synergy, which gives a sudden burst of mana, so it's not speedy. Or Mazarek, Crowl, Death Priest, which scales with other players' actions. A player with Heuristic Study is hitting us in our wallet. It's immediately iconic. It is often spoken about. You could be doing less. Think about the underrated and underplayed Mask of Memory. It's cheap, has an extra but very small hoop to jump through of 1 to equip, but lets you see another 2 cards a turn. A Smothering Tithe is a stacks piece. It's drama. It hits us in our inequality. You're tarnished for the rest of the game, but a Flickerable Claim Jumper can net us 2 lands every time someone else overextends. It's subtle. It's accessible to all wallets. What about keeping a slower opening hand? With essentials like Ramp Card Draw or a board wipe, it's often much stronger than a flashy high-impact opener. It's tempting to keep a handful of dramatic threats and haymakers, but those cards make you an early spectacle. And in Commander, the spotlight is dangerous. Strategic self-suppression means choosing hands that you build quietly so that someone else becomes the problem first. You're not falling behind, you're delaying gratification, trading immediate excitement for long-term control, and setting yourself up to win after the table exhausts itself. Let other players be the problem. You can stay invisible by standing next to someone louder. One of the most powerful positions at any Commander table isn't in the lead, it's just behind the player who looks like they are. So play beneath the noise. This all ties directly into a concept called Nash equilibrium, the unspoken balance that often forms in mid-game Commander. Players aren't just trying to win, they are trying not to lose. So once everybody has a board, some mana, and a bit of draw, things settle. A social equilibrium forms where no one wants to break the peace unless someone else breaks it first. When one player disrupts that balance with a haymaker spell, a combo piece, or a threatening board state, the rest of the table unites to course correct. Your job is not to be that player, your job is to be standing just behind them, building quietly while they soak up all the heat. Let's say someone casts a Grave Pact, or the tithe. They've just become the problem. Someone will point it out, someone will overreact, which is usually me, someone will panic and remove it, and now that player also becomes the problem. So you don't need to call things out, other people will do it. You just tap your 3 mana for your Phyrexian Arena and say, I'm just trying to keep up. Or someone lands an Ishan 2 Heavens as one and swings big. The whole table starts whispering about how fast the Ishan deck is going. Just agree and nod, and you point out how dangerous those double triggers are. Then you play your Mazarek or Revel in Riches or quietly assemble your combo. No one is looking at you, they're looking at the Ishan player and the person who called them out. This works because of 2 key biases. Salience bias, we react to whatever is most obvious, so the flashy Storm player, the Aristocrats deck draining life. This happened to me last night. The person saying, oops, as they draw 7 cards, which is also me. I did that as well, draw attention to how far ahead I am. And also attribution error. The table often associates actions with players rather than decks. If someone keeps wiping the board, we don't blame their strategy, we blame them. Let that player be the one that the table remembers. Most commander tables self-regulate perceived threats, and when someone else triggers a group reaction, you get to then sculpt, draw and prepare without interruption. Because you're not hiding, you're positioning, you're not behind, you're in waiting. The Nash equilibrium only lasts until someone flinches. Let someone else be the one who flinches. You can't underestimate that you've already overextended with your choice of who's in the command zone. Some commanders draw immediate aggro just by sitting in the command zone. Their reputations precede them. Their power ceilings are sky high, but you can play just as strong without starting every game at a disadvantage. Here's how to swap a high alert commander for a lower profile option that still delivers you the same real value. So instead of a Corvold, Fey Cursed King, a sacrifice commander so efficient, so self-contained, so infamous that many pods will preemptively focus the person piloting him down, try something like Sequoia, Deathkeeper or Jory, Master of the Review, as both reward sacrifice, but do so at a more grounded pace. Jory offers fun tension with scaling power, while Secure encourages recursive value over raw draw. The play patterns feel just as rewarding, and they are way less threatening on sight. Instead of Kinnan, Bond of Prodigy, oh gosh, ramp on turn 2, infinite mana by turn 5. Kinnan is a flashing neon sign that reads, combos coming, even when you're playing fair, you will not be treated fairly. So try Rush Me, Eternity's Crafter, or Zamone and Dina. Rush Me gives you free spells and card flow while rewarding interaction and patience. Zamone and Dina are newer, but fly under the radar, as newer commanders often do, while offering combo and control potential. Both feel powerful, but far less urgent to remove. And instead of playing Edgar Markov, one of the most oppressive tribal commanders ever printed, he comes with his own turn 0 reputation. Players will mulligan aggressively just to stop you. You could play Liesa, Shroud of Dusk, because she has this same punishing attrition game, but with a slower tempo and a more subtle threat profile. She gains life, drains opponents, and controls the pace without overrunning the board. You'll still win the long game, but you won't get dogpiled on turn 3. So choosing the right commander doesn't mean choosing a weak one, it means choosing a smarter entry point into the game. The less noise you make on turn 1, the more likely you are to survive to turn 10 with a full hand and a clear path to victory. If you enjoyed this humble free content today, a like and subscribe would mean the world to me. Good luck with your next game, stay under the radar, and I will see you on the next one.